What's up, friends? I wanted to put this report out much sooner because we got some very important things to talk about. So hopefully you're all able to see this in the morning. I had a birthday party, and then one of my younger sisters ended up in the emergency room. She's doing good. Some prayers for her recovery would be nice. We had a bit of an incident, but everything looks like it's going to be okay. So we got to talk about the SPY, though, index. I just want to remind on a longer time frame, we still have this like 5-wave pattern that looks headed for 557, right? The third wave right here, fourth wave, fifth wave brings us to 557, right? But on the shorter time frames, it's looking pretty bearish. Okay. Now, SPY overall is looking okay. You know, we've almost come up and tested an all-time new high, but it looks like we've completed a 5-wave pattern and we're doing a retracement here. Now, one of the things that I'm looking for this retracement, this is either a fourth wave, this is a complex fourth wave that's headed further down, in which case I would look for this to test about 550, or it's actually the full completed 5-wave pattern, which looks very likely, in which case I would like to see a test of 535, or 553, sorry. So either one is still bearish. I still think this has a little bit further down to go. The big thing to pay attention to right now, in my opinion, is that the finance sector is kind of leading the market right now. It was really strong today. Okay, and this is definitely reflected in the fact that QQQ and tech in general looks much weaker than SPY. Tech is much further from the all-time highs. They didn't even reclaim the 0.786 here. And so I've had some shorts, and I was short in the NVDA earnings on QQQ. I like shorting QQQ over SPY because it looks like, at this point, it definitely looks like there has been a shifting from tech to more value, more resistant names. Could be in fear of a recession, could just because of the overall deflationary market environment that we're in, that we've been talking about for a while. Quick drink of water there. But I still like playing Q to the downside. 463 is going to be really important. I told Discord members, you know, hey, if we give up 474, look for 464 to come really fast. That's the target I'm looking for. And I just really want to be cautious right now because NVIDIA selling off on good news is very toppy signal. Okay, the numbers were fine, but as I was posting about on X and on YouTube and the shorts and everything, like, do not touch this thing in the earnings. There are all these top signals, and just in general, people. I sometimes have goldfish memories. The entire earnings season this season, every AI stock name sold off, even if they had a good earnings. So this really isn't that unusual at all. Okay, it's kind of in line with what you would have expected due to the trend that we've seen for the past month in the AI names. And the retracement here on good news, though, it's very toppy. And we saw NVIDIA try and test this trend line and try to get these breaks to the upside, and they all got to big denials. So from this point, I'd be really cautious about trying to come and buy dips right now on NVIDIA. I imagine tomorrow this daily will start to roll over, and the weekly already has been rolling over some. And I want to see if soon this monthly is going to start to break a little bit. And it's not really a symptom of the fundamentals aren't doing great, but the name is heavily valued. We came into this earnings at a 45 PDE ratio, right? And that's one of the higher valuations that this stock has had. You know, it's not a cheap name. Price is everything. Price action is everything. And the price action in tomorrow, if I see this thing get further sold down, I'm going to start to get really concerned. Okay, one of the trends that you should be paying attention to right now over the past several years, we could see back in 2023 and September and August, right at the end of August, beginning of September, that's when we got the huge push to the downside. And then at the end of October, market started to rally. Back in 2022, if we go to August, end of August into September, market started to turn over after a summer rally. Similar to what we're seeing right now, right? We get this nice summer rally. Nowhere near as bullish as our summer rally was. But then at the end of August, beginning of September, market started to roll over. Go back to 2021. We got the end of August, market starts to roll over, and then in October, it starts to rally. This could be also symptomatic of the greater market environment we're seeing where, hey, inflation's low, it looks like a deflationary environment. We're seeing that tech is weak in that deflationary environment, and that trend could continue to play out for the rest of September. Even in 2020, you coming into September, market rolls over, and then maybe October hits, it starts to rally again. This is also more symptomatic if you look at, back in like the .com, or you look at like the 1987 crash, or even '08. August, September is when you get the big crashes, right? So keep that in mind, in the back of the mind, right? So I'm shorting QQQ because it's relative weakness. Tech looks weaker than SPY. I'm keeping these shorts on. We've been playing them. We've also had some plays on the peripherals to the upside. Affirm was one of those, and my gosh, this thing just blew out earnings. It looks like it's going to hold that. This looks like it could go for a further extension up into 40. So this is a huge level to watch now for Affirm if it wants to continue to rally to the upside, especially with the financial sector looking really strong. This was a play that I set up because of the strength that we saw from Upstart. If Upstart likes to take these big rallies, Affirm usually likes to play catch up. So I missed the Upstart play, caught the Affirm play. Solid moves right there, right? Just playing the trends. I should mention CrowdStrike as well because they just had earnings. I didn't hedge my position. In fact, I bought some small, very, very tiny small call position. Very itty bitty small call because it was good earnings. Given all the doomsday that was priced in, it was good earnings. And my thesis did play out. For the reason I bought this on the dip was because the stickiness of all the products that CrowdStrike has and the integrations with their customers, right? It is such a pain to try and leave CrowdStrike. But this sell-off during the earnings call was because they are no longer reporting the total number of customers. They did give the percentages for how many of their customers are using 5 products or 6 products or 7 products, but they didn't mention the full list or the full number of clients that they have, which is different than what they've done in previous earnings, which is probably symptomatic of, yes, we did lose some customers and we're scared to say how many. That is a bit worrisome. The stock still is trading at a pretty big discount, so we didn't see a ground shaking sell off from this. And you're going to see that it actually started to recover. It'll be really interesting to see how this performs tomorrow. I'm very unlikely to sell my crowd shares, and I will hedge them. Because I still like the tech names. I still don't think that the bull market is dead quite yet. We might see a comeback in October. We could also see a market crash. I would say it's still very speculative, but if it's going to happen, it's probably going to happen in the next 2 weeks. So that's what I would keep in mind for CrowdStrike. The stock that I'm shorting right now is NVO, and I definitely wanted to walk this over with you guys. This is starting to play out pretty well. These contracts are a lot more wild than I had anticipated. The liquidity is also not the best. The spreads are really large. Some of our Discord traders actually were able, on this minor dip into today, the contracts were like 50% and they just took profits and got out. I didn't. I'm looking for this thing to have a greater retracement. Here's the thing, and this might offend some of you, my good friends, who do not track the market every day like I do, but when I have normies messaging me or calling me, hey, what do you think about NVO? And they don't track the market, they don't do what I do. Why is a drug production company hitting your radar? Never should happen. Never should happen. That's a huge bear signal in my book. And then I take a quick look at the stock, with already my bearish mindset, immediately see what looks to be a head and shoulder setup. All right, even neckline right here. That was the worst line ever drawn in history. But I'm looking for the potential for this to plunge to the downside. And we can see that there is some weak catalyst with the drug companies like Eli Lilly. There's some tailwinds with them kind of lowering drug costs and stuff. And trying to bring in some more demand. Maybe we do see some weakness. Those stocks and just in general also trading at ridiculous premiums, and they're also like rolling over at what looks to be a double top. So if this starts to roll over, NVO is going to roll over with it. I don't really want to directly short these. Actually, look at that daily. Look at that daily with that double top. Yikes. Yikes. If that breaks that EMA right there, it's going to plunge, and that's probably going to be enough to bring it down lower. I don't want to set up the two short positions. There's too much overlap in both plays. But I guess you could decide which one you want to short. I think I like the head shoulders better than the double top. Technically a triple top. And then you could probably use this RSI structure as a cut. What's the 4-hour look like? Yee! That also looks awful. You do have the solid defense right there. Let's that's a better perspective there. Yeah, this looks like it's already caved. So you got like 30 points of downside to come test that. NVIDIA will not hold up if Eli Lilly rolls over. But yeah, I just really like this play right now. Bitcoin right now is also showing some weakness. I'm kind of keeping an eye on this curve right here. And I want Bitcoin to keep testing this. Okay, this large wick is just noise. But so far, you know, since basically the bottom of November 2022, we've come and we've tested this multiple times and it's held. It's managed to hold, right? And then this also, in my opinion, still looks like it could be forming a cup and handle. It could be several more weeks before we get the parabolic move. In general, I'm still seeing all the signs that Bitcoin looks strong. And the way I'm going to say that the cup is dead is if we get a solid move under this parabola. Okay? That's the way I'm going to handle it. Then I'll come into the downside. Now, real quick, we should cover China because we talked about China last week or the week before last. I can't remember. Remember, for these weekly reports, I only put these out when I think there's something to say. And I wasn't going to do a weekly report on Sunday or Monday when basically you want to wait for NVDA earnings to see how this is going to react. Okay? The market just chopped sideways into this. This was the big catalyst for things to actually start to have some follow through. And I've been getting chopped up a bit on some plays. You know, I tried to play Reddit to the upside, took a minor loss there. I tried to play Boeing today, which was probably the only major loss for 40% loss. But we caught PDD for a short play that played over 200%. We caught ON for 100%. QQQ has been printing like crazy. Affirm was a great play. You know, getting chopped up on some names for some minor losses, but still hitting some big swings, still keeping the consistency. That's all you can ask for in an environment like this. You know, when the market's chopping sideways, you're going to have some losers. You're going to have some iffy plays. It's really unavoidable when there's not great follow through, especially, you know, one of my copy paste favorite plays is just simple breakouts, right? But in a choppy market like this, you're going to get all these fake outs. Just happens, right? You know, 90 times out of 100 those trades work, and then in sideways markets like this they don't. It's unavoidable, but you just gotta stick to the process and let the probability start to play out in your fortune, right? So the other thing I want to talk about is China. So my expectation a while ago was that there would be some more stimulus pumping from China. We used Japan as a reference for why they would do this, and they didn't. So I was expecting some more aggressive stimulus to come out, and instead China did the opposite. It could be them making a huge policy blunder, in my opinion. The weakness in the dollar gave them an opportunity to set this up, and they didn't take it. Okay, so where's DXY? There's DXY. You know, what I anticipated with the dollar played out, right? The weakness they're looking for gives them an opportunity to pump out the stimulus. Okay, so we are seeing this weakness, and this 4-hour chart is still continuing to trend to the downside. It came up, tried to test the EMA cloud, got denied. So it looks like it's going to head lower and going to hit below $100 is my next target. I didn't trade this, but it was like a very easy trade if you're more of a Forex trader. I'm not. I think Forex traders are psychopaths. That's not for me. But given this weakness, I do want to see if Baba will come and test this, because I'd still say that it's probably like, instead of a high conviction, it's probably a medium conviction, but it's still likely that in the next few months that these will turn into incredible plays. Okay, FXI does look weaker than Baba, so you probably want to play some of the more well-known names rather than the index. I was playing both at one point. I've pulled back on both positions. I don't have open positions on either of these. I'm waiting for the sentiment to change, or for these technical to get a nice bounce, and then maybe I'll try to play Baba. I'd keep light positioning until we actually get some news. When we get that news, it'll create, you know, a much favorable risk reward on entering these positions. The next thing I want to talk about, because lots of people are talking about the commodity space, we're seeing that some commodity names are running, especially when it comes to oil. I'm tracking BCOM for my interest in commodities, right? This is an ETF that tracks a lot of them. This still looks like to be in a chop range to me. I feel like the people coming in these plays right now are likely to get rug pulled. I think it's still too soon. When we're talking about gold, I'm out of most of my gold calls. I had leaps for 2024, May 2024. I got like, I think like 60% on most of my contracts. I just have a few, like a very, very small position. And I think that this is extremely overbought. I think the fundamentals for gold are better than they've ever been. And this is coming from the guy who I hate gold. I hate that the fundamentals are probably stronger than they ever have been. And I want more gold. Okay. If the market crashes and gold sells off, let's say there is a market crash. This is the first thing I'm going to buy in my long-term account. And I will likely sell some of the TLT that's been playing out really well for it, is what I'll do. And I'll use gold as my hedge. Which, by the way, TLT looks like it wants to roll over here. It looks like it wants to deny my charting. But we'll see. I'm going to give this time. Because we do have those catalysts, we'll have the rate cut. If we get a 25, that might not be enough to get this over the highs. For 2024, if we get to 50, it should give us a nice bump. And I'll sell some calls into that. I've just been unloading the TLT calls. I have not unloaded any of my shares in my long-term account, though, because I'm still using it as a hedge. And I'd like to swap out that hedge into gold on dips here. And I do think that gold is definitely cooking, firing all cylinders. And I'm looking for some sort of retracement to come in, although it will go higher. That's going to be it for this week's report. God bless. And have a great day, because most of you probably see this in the morning.